This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Monday, April 8th, 2024. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
For millions of Americans in the path of totality, the day is here.
Do not stop on roadways to view the eclipse.
I'm Clayton Neville.
6 months later, Israel continues its fight to rid Gaza of Hamas.
Bring them back home now.
I'm John Stolnis.
Aftershocks and criticism after Friday's earthquake shook a tri-state area. I'm Pamela Furr.
Caitlin Clark's college hoops career comes to an end. How that game finished.
On Wall Street, markets start this new week after a Friday rally, but a losing week overall for stocks. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
Expected this morning, a major statement on abortion by former President Trump. And Vermont Senator Sanders' office up in flames. All ahead on America in the Morning. Americans will be looking to the sky today with what we hope will be protective glasses to view a rare total solar eclipse. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports from the path of totality.
32 million people live within today's solar eclipse's path of totality that stretches over parts of Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. In that path, the moon will completely cover the sun.
There's always a shadow going out. Normally, it just goes out into space. But every once in a while, the moon goes right in front of Earth, so it passes between the sun and the Earth. And when that shadow hits the Earth, that's an eclipse.
American astronaut Terry Virts.
Doesn't happen that often. It's not going to happen in America for 20 years, so this is a pretty rare event.
Because of that, Americans are celebrating. Festivals and watch parties planned from Dallas to Cleveland. Some schools letting out. Organizers at Totality Fest outside Dallas say they've been preparing for this for quite a while.
We've got people from all over the world here, from Australia, from Central America, from Canada, people from almost representing all 50 states, so we're really excited to be hosting them here today.
Hundreds of thousands of people expected to travel into the path of totality, some of them camping out.
We have like 5 tents. Bunch of chairs.
Well, we got cooking stove, we brought food, we brought the animals, just brought the whole household.
I asked this camper if it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Almost.
Almost. It could be, yeah.
I've seen what you call a three-quarters eclipse out at sea.
So does it surprise you that there's people from all over the world coming in for this?
No, not at all. It is. It's the kind of thing that most people don't get a chance to see, and I understand people coming this way.
People viewing the eclipse are urged not to look toward the sky without the certified solar eclipse protective glasses, and police are warning of traffic dangers. Eddie Garcia is the police chief in Dallas.
We need to ensure that our first responders can respond to emergencies and make their way to local hospitals. Please do not stop on roadways to view the eclipse or drive and attempt to watch the eclipse.
Those along the center of the path will see an eclipse that lasts about 3.5 to 4 minutes, according to NASA. It's expected first over the South Pacific Ocean just after 2 o'clock Eastern Time before moving over Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, and eventually north toward Canada by mid-afternoon. Scientists anxious for the event, which historically has brought a number of discoveries surrounding the relationship between Earth and the Sun. I'm Clayton Neville.
6 months ago, more than 1,200 Israelis were murdered and about 250 people were taken captive when Hamas terrorists invaded Israel and launched a brazen attack. 6 months into the war, let's get this update on where things stand from correspondent John Stolnis.
Thousands of Israelis chanting in Hebrew, gathering outside Parliament, calling on the government to do more to pursue the release of hostages being held by Hamas. Abigail Cormus is one of the protesters.
I'm here because 6 months have passed and 133 people are still in captivity. We have to release them. We have to do everything in our power. The government has to do everything in their power to bring them back home now.
The Biden administration seemingly at a crossroads with their ally as President Biden comes under increasing pressure by Democrats to put conditions on military aid to Israel. National Security spokesman John Kirby on ABC's This Week admitting they want to see changes from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
We have been increasingly frustrated. And again, that was a core message that the president delivered to Prime Minister Netanyahu in their phone call this past week, that if they've got to do more, they've got to make changes. Now, the prime minister assured the president that he would do that.
Israel is withdrawing thousands of troops from the southern Gaza town of Khan Yunis, saying Hamas has been routed there. Netanyahu maintains an operation in Rafah is needed to eliminate Hamas in that city. The Biden administration warning against a ground invasion into an area sheltering 1.4 million people. Kirby on CBS's Face the Nation.
We have been very clear with the prime minister and his team that we don't support a ground operation in Rafah, that there are other ways, other options that they need to look at.
Chef Jose Andres, founder of World Central Kitchen, tells ABC's This Week incidents like the deaths of his 7 aid workers last week must not be allowed to happen again.
It's been 6 months of targeting anything that seems moves. This doesn't seem anymore a war about defending.
Hamas's health ministry in Gaza claims more than 33,000 Palestinians have been killed in the last 6 months, including women and children. Those numbers are disputed by the Israelis, who believe the health ministry is not a reliable source. I'm John Stolnis.
Aftershocks from an East Coast earthquake and basketball's perfect 38-0 record when America in the Morning returns after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. Maybe you've heard about this little thing called an eclipse taking place today. The path of totality extends from Texas to Maine. Let's get a check on how weather might affect things with AccuWeather.com meteorologist Carrie Schwindenhammer.
Many are, of course, wondering what the weather is going to be like with the eclipse occurring during the day today, and we're going to be seeing some thunderstorms in the Houston area, and some of these storms could be locally strong or even severe with the possibility of damaging winds, flooding, downpours, hail, and even an isolated tornado. Of course, Dallas, the activity may hold off until later in the day or during the nighttime, but even there's a threat for some strong or severe thunderstorms as we head through the day today. And of course, thunderstorms are also possible across parts of the Deep South, including Louisiana and Mississippi as well. Meanwhile, we'll have a line of showers spreading across portions of western Pennsylvania, the central Appalachians, and portions of the Tennessee and Ohio valleys. And that could obscure the sun for a brief time as we head through the early to mid-afternoon hours. But it looks like pretty nice conditions for viewing the eclipse across parts of New England, including Boston, and also into Portland, Maine as well. Certainly there we'll see at least some sunshine with highs in the 60s for the most part, maybe some 50s showing up, though, across northern Maine. The southeast in general on the warm side with 80s across portions of southern Alabama and southern Georgia. Also 80s in much of central and western Florida. Meanwhile, in the southwest, mostly dry. A couple of showers across the higher elevations, some snow showers in the central Rockies, and rain and some mountain snow across the northern plains and into the northern Rockies. Spotty showers in the northwest. Strong storms in Houston, even an isolated tornado, the high 75 degrees. It'll be breezy and warmer with some sun in Chicago, the high 68. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Carrie Schwindenhammer.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. Aftershocks have been felt all weekend following an earthquake that struck New Jersey, was felt in New York City and surrounding states. Pamela Furr reports the quakes have also brought criticism for what some might call the lack of emergency response.
More than 34 aftershocks felt all weekend after Friday's 4.8 magnitude earthquake in Hunterdon County, New Jersey. Now, experts say there could be more this week, but there's criticism being hurled at New York City officials on what some are calling a major delay in getting notifications out to people's phones. Nearly 25 minutes, in fact, after the first rumble was felt. The quake struck around 10:23 a.m. local time, with the U.S. Geological Survey confirming at approximately 10:34 a.m. that it happened. But New York City didn't issue an emergency notify NYC phone alert until 10:47. The city then issued a wireless emergency message to phones at 11 a.m. and then 11:45 a.m. Zachary Iskol, who is the head of the Office of Emergency Management, told reporters at a press conference on Friday the Adams administration needed to confirm it was indeed an earthquake before sending out the messages.
20 minutes is very, very fast for a public notification communication.
There were lots of posts on social media criticizing the delay and a statement from the Manhattan Borough president saying his own phone didn't receive an emergency text for more than an hour after the earthquake. He went on to say, "It's unacceptable." I'm Pamela Furr.
It's the end of a brilliant college career for Iowa's Caitlan Clark and history for the University of South Carolina. The Gamecocks completed a perfect season going 38-0, defeating Iowa in the NCAA Women's Championship basketball game 87-75. The call from Westwood One Sports.
The starters checking out, including the great Caitlan Clark, who is getting hugs from all of her coaches, all of her teammates. Kate Martin has burst into tears as she comes off the floor. Down to 3 seconds, down to 2, down to 1. It is perfection for South Carolina. 38 games, 38 wins, and their third national championship.
Clark put in 30 points, but that was not enough. She ends her college career with 3,951 points, more than any man or woman in major college basketball history. When we return on America in the Morning, unemployment at a 50-year low. A deeper dive into the numbers after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. The Business Report is sponsored by Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments takes a disciplined approach with investing, helping clients navigate volatile markets. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger.
Wall Street opens this morning after a rally for the markets on Friday, but it was a down week for stocks. All eyes now on inflation. The March CPI comes Wednesday. That's the Consumer Price Index. By the end of the week, it's earnings season. Everybody's working. Friday saw a super strong jobs report for March. Many more jobs than expected were created.
A whopping 303,000. That's the juiciest number that we've had going back to 303,000 equals May of 23, right on the nose. To find a higher number, you go back to January of last year.
CNBC's Rick Santelli, the unemployment rate now 3.8%, hovering near a 50-year low.
This was a good number. We have a really good economy. 2.5% GDP. That's what we're running at right now. And it's led by the consumer. So we root for the consumer because it's 70% of our economy. We root for services because that's 75% of consumption. So it's all going in the right direction. All of this means earnings can continue to be good.
Hightower's Stephanie Link on CNBC. Where was that hiring in healthcare, government, including police, firefighters, and teachers, plus leisure and hospitality like hotels, bars, and restaurants? Disney, the latest company to crack down on password sharing on its streaming service, Disney Plus. Reports say the changes are coming in June. If you've been looking for a used car, maybe you saw some lower prices over the weekend, certainly lower than they were a year ago.
What we have is a used market that's becoming much more of a normal market. It continues to cool off, down more than 11% compared to the first quarter of last year, increased by 3% compared to February, but used prices always go up in March. They were expecting a bigger increase at Cox Automotive.
CNBC's Phil LeBeau.
What's the elephant in the room regarding all this new interest in sports?
You know, experts are saying that from women's professional hockey to women's college basketball and so much more, and with the men's March Madness championship tonight, the big winners are going to be online gambling companies.
You're seeing increased betting. In fact, when you talk about women's college basketball, I believe Monday night's Iowa game was the most bet women's college basketball game ever. So you're seeing handles rise. Now, there's always ethical concerns and integrity concerns, and you're starting to see a few more of those, and that has everybody concerned in terms of where this is going.
Sports Business Journal's Abe Madkour on CNBC. On today's watch list, no big earnings or economic data. A lot of focus on that solar eclipse. Lots of businesses poised to profit. Tonight, another money machine with the men's NCAA college basketball March Madness championship game.
Purdue and defending champ UConn battling it out tonight. CNBC's Jessica Ettinger with business headlines. When we return on America in the Morning, Senator Bernie Sanders' office set ablaze. Details after these messages. America in the Morning continues. An expected statement from Donald Trump this morning concerning abortion following a Florida court ruling that prompted questions about whether he supports the state's looming ban on the procedure after 6 weeks of pregnancy. The former president writes on Truth Social, quote, Republicans and all others must follow their hearts and minds, but remember that, like Ronald Reagan before me, I and most other Republicans believe in exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, end quote. Trump has repeatedly said he's responsible for terminating Roe v. Wade through his appointment of 3 conservative Supreme Court justices. He has, over the past year, repeatedly dodged questions when asked whether he would sign a national abortion ban if reelected. A man's under arrest for allegedly setting a fire at the Vermont office of Senator Bernie Sanders. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Federal prosecutors say Shant Sogomonian has been charged with setting a fire outside Senator Bernie Sanders' Burlington, Vermont office on Friday. The lawmaker was not there and no one was injured. Officials say Sogomonian, who is 35 and previously of Northridge, California, entered the building, went to Sanders' third-floor office, where security video showed him spraying a liquid on the door and setting it on fire. The motive remains unclear. The building suffered some fire and water damage. I'm Julie Walker.
America in the Morning for Monday, April 8th, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay. Senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Many people are scrambling to reach the best eclipse viewing spots. I'm Jackie Quinn.
A busy campaign weekend with a big haul for one of the candidates. I'm Clayton Neville.
How Israel's now dealing with the Hamas war and the feds looking into a star rapper and his son.
The $30 million cash heist in Los Angeles on Easter Sunday has triggered rampant speculation. I'm Norman Hall.
Taking photos during the eclipse? We have some tips to keep you and your phone safe. I'm Chuck Palm.
Country music fans chose their favorite artist last night at the CMT Awards. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. Welcome back. You're with America in the Morning. I won't be able to say this again until 2044. Here's how weather will be affecting the solar eclipse today. AccuWeather.com meteorologist Carrie Schwindenhammer.
Some places in the path of the best conditions for watching the eclipse as far as totality are concerned are probably going to be contending with at least some showery weather today, and that includes places like Erie, down through eastern Ohio. Meanwhile, strong thunderstorms in the offing across eastern Texas, and some of that activity could get into Dallas as we head through the afternoon hours, especially into the evening. Meanwhile, Houston during the day could have damaging winds and flooding downpours with some of these storms. And there's also the potential for an isolated tornado. Strong storms also a possibility across portions of Louisiana and Mississippi as well. As I mentioned, we're looking at spotty showers across the Tennessee and Ohio valleys and also into western Pennsylvania, and that could cause some obscuring of the sun as we head through the early to mid-afternoon hours. Meanwhile, much of New England is looking pretty good. In fact, we'll have some sunshine for Chicago and also into New York and Boston. New England in particular looking at temperatures in the 60s. Chicago up around 70 degrees, and there we'll have some sunshine as well with a warmer afternoon. Looks like a pretty nice day. Temperatures getting in the low 70s in Kansas City with a mix of clouds and sun there as well. 80s across much of central and western Florida during the day today. 70s along the East Coast and not up through the Carolinas as well. In the southwest, maybe a couple of showers at the higher elevations of Arizona. Snow showers in the central Rockies, but most of the wet weather in the west will be across the northern plains, and we'll even have some snow in parts of Montana, maybe some rain making its way into portions of western Washington state. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist Carrie Schwindenhammer.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube. Just search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. I'm John Trout. From Texas to New York and Maine, millions of Americans are hoping that cloud cover doesn't block today's solar eclipse. As correspondent Jackie Quinn reports, some states have issued a state of emergency due to the influx of eclipse watchers. And from cities like Dallas to small towns across the path of totality, people are anxiously waiting.
We are literally over the moon to welcome over 1 million people to our state for this once-in-a-generation moment. Some people across the state have traveled hundreds of miles. Others from out of town have traveled thousands of miles to come. And for one good reason, the stars are truly aligned for New York.
Many people are scrambling to reach the best eclipse viewing spots and hoping for good weather. They came by planes, cars, and RVs to destinations along the 115-mile corridor of totality. Waxahachie, Texas, near Dallas, is flooded with visitors, says diner owner Nazir Musa.
My understanding is there's going to be over 100,000 that are going to be right in town here, looking at this eclipse.
But when people made their reservations, they couldn't know clouds are now in the forecast from Mexico to Dallas all the way to Lake Erie. Eclipse watcher Rebecca Amon traveled from Chicago to Dallas.
It's sounding like here in Dallas, kind of early morning, we are going to get a very thin layer of high-level clouds come in, but they're thin cirrus clouds, so they're transparent. You can see through them a little bit. They've been describing it like a veil.
Northern New England into Canada are the only spots now with a certainty of good weather.
Usually twice a year, the moon will come directly in between the sun and the earth, blocking out some or all of its light. And on the 8th of April, what a few very lucky people are going to be able to see across parts of the world is a total solar eclipse.
I'm Jackie Quinn.
It was an eventful weekend on the presidential campaign front. Correspondent Clayton Neville has details.
Former President Donald Trump with a big haul over the weekend, $50 million at his fundraiser. Trump called it proof that Americans want change.
Rich people want it, poor people want it, everybody wants change. Our country is really doing poorly. We're a laughing stock all over the world, and we're going to get that change very quickly. And this has been some incredible evening before it even starts, because people, they wanted to contribute to a cause of making America great again, and that's what's happened.
He gave a few remarks about the generous donations with his wife, former First Lady Melania Trump, at his side.
It's going to be the most important, I believe, election we've ever had. I think it's going to go down as the most important date in the history of our country. That's November 5th, will be the most important date in the history of our country.
Politicians and big-time mega donors were at the Palm Beach fundraiser. So was North Dakota Governor and former presidential candidate Doug Burgum, who spoke with Fox News.
It wasn't just energizing, it was actually inspirational. Being with all of these incredible job creators, people that have, many people that started with nothing, they've lived the American dream, they've given back to their communities, they've created countless jobs around our country, and they're concerned about the future under Joe Biden.
For President Biden, recent days have brought some confusion for some, but still no clear response from his campaign. Democratic officials in Ohio have been warned by the Secretary of State there that President Biden's in jeopardy of being left off the general election ballot in his state, surrounding a missed deadline. The Democratic National Convention scheduled to convene on August 19th, which is nearly 2 weeks after an August 7th deadline in Ohio to certify a presidential candidate. The Secretary of State suggests the DNC move up its convention, or the General Assembly in Ohio has to make a move by May 9th to consider an exception to the deadline. I'm Clayton Neville.
As we mark the 6-month passing since the terrorist group Hamas launched a surprise attack on southern Israel that killed over 1,200 people and took over 200 hostages, and then Israel declaring war on Gaza, a major shift in strategy. Late Sunday night, the Israeli government said that their troops exited from Han Yunis and more humanitarian aid has been sent in. As Charles de Ledesma reports, Delaware Senator Chris Coons, speaking on Fox News Sunday, says what the Israeli military is doing is strategic, and that we can also not forget about the hostages that Hamas continues to hold and refuses to release.
There will still be several thousand IDF troops, that's what a brigade is, in Gaza after this announcement this morning. But I presume this is a tactical decision by the IDF and Israeli leadership in the face of a threat of a real attack from the north, from Hezbollah, or a direct attack from Iran. And it's important for all of us who support Israel to be clear that we will continue to defend Israel against Iran or any of its proxies in the region.
A woman cries while looking at a photo of her son at the Nova concert site in Israel, while nearby Masal Parisis kisses a photo of her niece.
Today there is a memorial. They are commemorating their death after 6 months. This is why they're here today. It leaves a hole in the heart forever and ever, for the whole family.
6 months after the October 7 Hamas attack, families of those killed held a press conference. Stav Kipper, whose sister Savion died in the attack, helps organize it.
We need mental help. We need financial help. We want compensation, because what happened here wasn't supposed to happen, and it could have been avoided. And we want funds for being able to tell the world what happened here.
Sigal Manzouri, mother of 2 young women killed on October 7, says we're missing them badly. It's really, really difficult.
I've met many times with hostage families. It is tragic that Hamas continues to use civilians as human shields, continues to hold these hostages, and continues to terrorize them now for 184 days.
I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Coming up, tips on capturing the eclipse with your smartphone camera. And in sports, Robert Workman has college hoops. That and more when America in the Morning continues after these messages. I'm John Trout. This is America in the Morning. As the investigation into the brazen heist of $30 million in a Los Angeles storage facility continues, questions are being raised as to if the theft has inside connections. Correspondent Norman Hall reports.
Thieves broke into a global cash management and security firm. The case is being investigated by Los Angeles police and the FBI.
Well, I would certainly consider an inside job based upon the fact that from everything I've read so far, I saw nothing of camera coverage being activated. The alarms weren't activated.
Security expert Jim McGuffey told KTLA the case is puzzling, that insiders may have had a role, and McGuffey says security firms have been cutting costs.
I think that the industry is riding on luck. So, over the years, they've made a lot of cuts in safety and security. I'm not saying Guarded World, I'm saying many of them.
McGuffey says the firm should have had multiple alarm systems and a seismic monitor near the safe that was cracked. I'm Norman Hall.
A lawsuit that names Sean Diddy Combs as a co-defendant alleges that his son, Christian King Combs, sexually assaulted a woman working on a yacht chartered by his father. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
The lawsuit filed in Los Angeles says Sean Combs created the circumstances that led to the assault. It comes amid a federal sex trafficking investigation that led Homeland Security agents to raid his homes last week. The woman, who worked as a crew member and a bartender on the boat, says that in December of 2022, Christian Combs pressured her to drink tequila that she believes was spiked with other drugs. She says he groped her and attempted to force her to perform oral sex. A lawyer for Sean Combs says the lawsuit is full of manufactured lies. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
He lost his brother during a mass shooting on a California mushroom farm in 2023, and now the surviving brother has filed a lawsuit against the farm's owner. Correspondent Ed Donahue explains.
Pedro Romero Perez was in a shipping container that was also a home to him and his brother at Terra Gardens in Half Moon Bay. Authorities say Chun-Li Zhao barged in and opened fire. Perez's brother was killed. Through an interpreter, he says he and his brother were inseparable.
And I'm always thinking about him. And I just don't understand how this happened.
4 people in all were killed. Perez was shot 5 times, including once in the face. The accused gunman worked at the farm. Attorney Donald McGilligan says the owners failed to keep Perez safe.
The district attorney's office is holding the shooter criminally responsible for what he did. What this lawsuit seeks to do is to hold the landlord accountable for their role in the shooting.
Prosecutors say Zhao also killed 3 others at another farm where he used to work. I'm Ed Donahue.
The cleanup continues in Colorado from weekend storms and high winds that blew down electric lines. Authorities with Xcel Energy report more than 150,000 customers lost power, including in Denver, and many statewide when the utility cut service as a precaution in certain areas, including Boulder and Fort Collins, to mitigate wildfire risk. Xcel Energy said it may take days for all of their customers to get their lights back on. Eclipse photos are expected to flood social media, but you'll want to take some precautions. Here's Chuck Palm with that in today's Tech Report.
If you're viewing the solar eclipse today, it's a good idea to protect your eyes, but also be sure to protect your cameras. If you're like most people, you're probably taking pictures of the eclipse with your smartphone. NASA has posted a few tips to make it easier and make sure you don't damage your equipment. Just like your eyes, you're going to need a solar filter for your camera. The paper glasses you use to view a solar eclipse can be used right over the lens. Be sure to set your phone camera to autofocus and only use zoom if you have an actual optical zoom lens. Remember to turn off your flash during totality and set your split-second burst timer to capture the most amazing photos of the solar diamond ring. If your camera has a brightness feature, turn it all the way down and edit your photo later to achieve the proper brightness level. One final tip, don't point your camera at the sun for too long, as the lens could be damaged just like your eyes. Send us some photos at allthetoptech.tech. I'm Chuck Palm.
America in the Morning continues. Tonight, a men's college basketball champ will be crowned. Robert Workman has a look at Monday sports.
Overall #1 seed South Carolina won the women's NCAA basketball championship for the second time in 3 years.
Down to 2, down to 1. It is perfection for South Carolina. 38 games, 38 wins, and their third national championship. South Carolina 87, Iowa 75. 2024 is absolutely perfect for Dawn Staley and South Carolina.
The call on Westwood One Sports. The Gamecocks become the 10th unbeaten national champion. Tonight, the men's national championship game, Purdue and defending champ Connecticut, another matchup of #1 seeds. Multiple sources report that John Calipari is leaving Kentucky for the University of Arkansas. Coach Cal took the Wildcats to 4 Final Fours and the 2012 title in his 15 years in Lexington, but 2 first-round exits the past 3 seasons made his position a little tenuous. The deal is expected to be finalized today and could lead to a domino effect among college coaches. Baseball Sunday, the Yankees got a grand slam from Giancarlo Stanton and beat the Blue Jays 8-3. New York with the best record in the American League at 8-2. Pirates lead the NL with the same mark after getting 2 in the 9th to trip the Orioles. The drought is over for the Marlins. Jazz Chisholm Jr. and Nick Gordon each hit 3-run homers in the first inning. They crushed the Cardinals for their first win after an 0-9 start. Astros down the Rangers last night after throwing a no-hitter in his first start. Ronel Blanco held Texas to just 1 hit over 6 innings. Series sweeps for the Royals and Braves. Brewers, Red Sox, Cubs, A's, Mets, Nationals, Rays, and Giants win. NBA, the Sixers went double OT to subdue the Spurs. Tyrese Maxey with a career-best 52 points. That's Monday Sports.
Robert Workman with sports. When we return on America in the Morning, jackpot lottery winner to the tune of more than $1 billion after these messages. Welcome back. This is America in the Morning. Jelly Roll was one of the big winners at the CMT Awards. Kevin Carr has details.
Last night in Austin, Texas, the fans of country music got their say in the CMT Awards. These awards honor music videos and are voted on by the fans.
Drinking watermelon moonshine.
The big winners included Lainey Wilson with Watermelon Moonshine for Female Video of the Year.
I only talk to God when I need a favor.
And Jelly Roll won for Need a Favor for Male Video of the Year and Video of the Year.
Billy Bob Thornton just gave me my 3rd trophy of the night, y'all!
Earlier in the broadcast, Jelly Roll also won CMT Performer of the Year.
And what I'm emotional about is in that last year, you have changed my life in every way I would have never thought my life could be changed.
Ashley Cook won Breakthrough Female Video of the Year for Your Place. And Warren Zeter won Breakthrough Male Video of the Year for Pretty Little Poison. Trisha Yearwood was presented with the inaugural June Carter Cash Humanitarian Award for, quote, exceptional dedication to the community and their fellow artists.
My hope is that we can all learn a little bit from June Carter Cash's legacy and be a little bit more real, be a little bit more vulnerable. be a little bit less about me and a little bit more about us.
Lainey Wilson, Sammy Hagar, and Brooks and Dunn paid tribute to Toby Keith's 30-year career after his unexpected death from stomach cancer in February. For a complete list of winners, visit CMT.com. I'm Kevin Carr.
Another big weekend at the box office. Correspondent Margie Zaraletta reports on the movie that took the top spot.
Kong can't stop this on his own.
He won't be alone. Moviegoers still love the newest of the Godzilla vs. Kong movies. It made $31.7 million domestically in its second week of release, keeping its spot as the #1 movie.
If a man wishes to challenge the gods, he must become more than a man. He must become a beast.
Monkey Man, a revenge thriller set in India, debuts in second.
We're gonna need all the help we can get.
Let's get to work.
It's all dark and horny at 12 o'clock.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is third. The First Omen, a prequel to the Omen movie from 1976, comes in fourth. Kung Fu Panda 4 is number 5. I'm Archie Zaraletta.
It didn't go off exactly as planned, but when the drawing was finally held, an Oregon Powerball player is the winner of the $1.3 billion jackpot. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
After 3 months without a winner, a Powerball ticket bought in Oregon matched the winning numbers, which were 22, 27, 44, 52, 69, and the Powerball 9. The drawing for the $1.3 billion jackpot was set to take place Saturday night, but the Multi-State Lottery Association made this announcement.
Because of a technical problem tonight, we are unable to bring you the Powerball drawing at this time.
The drawing did not happen until 2:30 Sunday morning. Officials say the delay was because one of the lotteries that make up Powerball, which is played across the country, needed more time to complete the pre-draw process of verifying tickets. I'm Julie Walker.
America in the Morning for Monday, April 8th, 2024 is produced by Jeff McKay, senior producer Kevin Delaney. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.